What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an episode of Six Man Blitz. Got my special guest here once again, Zach Henderson. How we doing today, man?
Great, man. How you doing?
Great. Ready to talk some, NFL talk. We're gonna break down, the draft. Let's start off with the NFL draft. So the draft, I feel like there was a lot of people that had solid drafts. I mean, I've seen some draft grades for
Yeah.
all the teams that were like A's and B's, really no C's, no F's and stuff. But we'll give our own opinion on who won and lost this draft. Let's start off with the winners. Who do you got so far for winners?
I really like the Ravens in the Panthers draft. I
Okay.
think they both got a few steals. I mean, honestly, if you watch the draft, you really look at the draft, there's a lot of teams got good steals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the Ravens and the Panthers drafts really stood out to me. Especially with the Ravens, they got a lot of great defensive players that I think, in my opinion, could have went earlier, and they got them later in the draft. So,
Starks is going to be phenomenal next to
oh yeah.
Hamilton. Mike Green too. He's going to be a great edge rusher off the edge for them.
Mhm.
Interested to see how he does over there. Panthers, they got some really good defensive linemen. They needed some defensive linemen, so I really like their selections with that. Tet should be good too for Bryce
Oh
Young.
yeah.
For me, I think the Raiders, Seahawks, and Patriots. Jalen Milroe going to Seattle. Watch out, Darnold. Say, hey,
Honestly,
Milroe's
yeah,
coming for your spot.
I did like the Seahawks and the Patriots draft as well. I can agree with you on that.
I feel like the Seahawks, they got Nick Emanwari too. Kyle Hamilton
Mhm.
level, like kind of safety versatility there for Mike McDonald. I think he'll fit in well in that defense. Torrey Horton was a very underrated selection, the Colorado State wide
Oh yeah.
receiver. He single-handedly won that Colorado game, remember? Where he had like
Yeah, he
three,
did.
they might have lost that game, but he had like 300 yards receiving or something crazy.
Yeah.
So he's a good weapon for them. They need that, taller, bigger frame receiver. Losing DK. Hopefully Sam Darnold goes back to being a pumpkin and we get Milroe with Cooper Kupp, with JSN and Clint
Mhm.
Kubiak. The offense he likes to run is, more run heavy offense. So he could do some creative things with Milroe. I'm excited about Seattle's
Good.
draft. Raiders. I think I just did a video about this. I think the Raiders are going to be a playoff team this year. Genty, Jack Besh, the receiver from TCU, 1,000-yard
Yep.
receiver last year. He had like one of the lowest drop rate in college football. Him and Jeremiah Smith. Jordan, receiver from Tennessee, who's 6'4",
Mhm.
6'5", runs a 4.3. DK Metcalf variant. And yeah, I just really like that draft that they had and just some of the moves they made in free agency so far. Geno Smith, I think he's going to cement himself probably as a top 10 quarterback this year with the weapons he's got, a better offensive
Yeah.
line. The defense, Max Crosby, Wilkins is going to be healthy. So I'm high on the Raiders. Personally, I like the Raiders over the Chargers this year. Might be a
I can
hot
agree with
take.
you on that. I can agree. No, I agree with you on that. I wasn't really I was kind of surprised with the Chargers draft. I don't think they had like one of the best
I
drafts.
don't either.
I They were like bottom half in my opinion.
And Amarion Hampton, it was an interesting selection taking him. I thought Najee, you could have probably took a running back later on in the draft. Did you get Najee Harris? Yeah, I
Mhm.
wasn't really too fond of some of their selections. But Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll, that's going to be a rivalry we get to see again.
Oh yeah.
That whole
Yeah.
division is crazy, bro.
It is. That is an interesting division outside of the NFC East.
You think it's the best division in football, the AFC West? Because all four teams could be a playoff team.
Honestly, I don't. I think the NFC East is a little bit better,
Okay.
with the exception of Dallas.
Mhm.
Dallas will be the bottom of that this year.
That might be a
But
hot take. Do you think the Giants going to be better than Dallas?
they have a shot. Honestly, they have a shot to be better. You never know. They're the Giants D line, like I talked about last week when I was on. Their D line is really good,
Mhm.
especially with picking up Abdul Carter. I mean, they got Jackson Dart. Nah, I mean they still have Russell Wilson as well. We'll see who
Yeah.
starts there. It'll be interesting to see. I think the Giants have a chance at being better than Dallas. Dallas did get Tyler Booker in the draft. That was a good pickup for them.
They had some
And
decent selections, but nothing
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah, nothing crazy at all. So
I'm
Don't count the Giants out.
No, no, no. Yeah, the Giants should be formidable. Defensively, they'll be phenomenal, but
Mhm.
offensively, I have some concerns. Cam Scatterboo, though, that's a nice selection. One of my favorite
Yeah.
selections. Him and
Yeah.
Tyron Tracy is going to be nice together. Another winner, though, that I had was Patriots. I think they are a
Mhm.
team that got drastically better. Another hot take I'd probably have is them potentially being second in that division. Drake May finally has a weapon in Kyle Williams, Stephon Diggs. I've seen the offseason workouts. I'm
And they
buying
got him
in.
Will Campbell too.
Will Campbell, that's a tone setter offensive lineman. A guy that's gonna come in and just you've seen some of his interviews, like you give up 2 sacks and you're working at Amazon. Some of the shit he says, it's
Yeah.
like that's the offensive lineman you need. Whether they put him
Mhm.
at guard, whether they put him at left tackle, he's gonna improve that offensive line.
They also got my guy Travion Henderson
Oh,
out of Ohio State.
sneaky pick because
Yeah.
I think he could take Stevenson's job, Ramondre.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh
he could
yeah.
do so many good things, and as a pass protector,
Mhm.
he's solid as hell. Out the backfield, he's great. So I think that's going to be somebody that's going to be a really steal for the Patriots. Mike Vrabel's coming in. Defensively, they got some additions. Carlton Davis, Harold Landry. I like what the Patriots did in this draft, so they'll be drastically better, and the Raiders will be drastically better. Let's get into some losers. Some two losers I had in mind: Packers and Saints. Thoughts on that?
I will agree with you on the Saints. The Packers, I kind of like their draft just because I know their receiving core is kind of loaded already, and they got Matthew Golden in the first round,
Mhm.
which I thought Matthew Golden was going to go sooner. I had him going to Dallas,
Yeah, me too.
um, but they got what's his name? They picked up another Texas player in the draft as well.
Hmm.
I think it was a I don't remember his name, but they got another Texas player later on in the draft. I would say I would agree with you on the Saints.
My take on the Packers, I think they didn't get a pass rusher. They didn't improve that area. They got the Baron Soul. He's a pass rusher from Texas, but they didn't get a dominating pass rusher. That's a need I feel like they needed to
Mm,
address.
yeah.
They didn't address it in free agency. Matthew Golden, solid receiver, but I think he's a wide receiver too in a room full of wide receiver twos, you know?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I mean, you never know though. Matthew Golden did have to step into a receiver one role with Isaiah Bond not really um, finding his way when he went to Texas. You never know. Some receivers may pan out to be a
Mhm.
receiver one if depending on if they're in the right system or not. So
You never know for real. And they did get Savion Williams, the receiver from TCU. I just looked up their draft right now.
yeah.
That is somebody. If he would have went anywhere else, I would have loved that pick because he's like Debo Samuel, Cordell Patterson. Because he went to the Packers, I'm gonna
Yep.
hate on that shit. Um, but do you buy into like rookies getting a number and the number just automatically cementing them being a bust? Like Matthew Golden, number 22. That number, it's not a good number.
It's not. It's really not. When I saw that he decided to wear 22, I was like, "Oh, I hope this isn't real. I hope this is a joke." But then I saw the video later on that he explained why he chose 22, and I was just like, "Yeah, it's." I
I-
mean, Sky Moore wore 22, but that's a different kind of receiver. Like
yeah,
we'll see Matthew Golden on an island wearing 22. Sky Moore wasn't that kind of receiver, so it'll
right.
be it'll be a little weird.
That's the thing. Yeah, he's a different type of weapon. Sky Moore returns punts, returns like he does a lot.
Mhm.
His game is a lot different. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping his ass a bust. Because I've been doing videos. I was on another person's podcast and I was saying the Packers are going to be the worst team in the NFC North Division. And
Mm.
off season wise, what they've done, free agency, the draft, I haven't nothing's been moving me, man. So I think Minnesota's great. I like what they did.
Mhm.
I think JJ, I'm pretty high on him having a good rookie season, essentially. Uh, I'm high on him having a good season because Kevin O'Connell, he could turn shit into really good.
Yeah, he did it with Sam. He did it with Sam. So
That's what I'm saying. So I think he could be somebody that's good for JJ and throwing to Justin Jefferson. They can
and
have
Jordan Addison.
anybody throwing back there. TJ Hawkinson
Yeah,
healthy. too.
Hmm.
So and defensively they got drastically better. So I
Oh yeah.
this is how I would rank the NFC North after off season, after the draft. Bears won.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say, don't do it.
I,
Don't do
I
it.
should have I should have gave a, was it a warning or yeah, I should have gave a warning. A trigger warning. But Bears won, Detroit number 2, Vikings 3, Packers 4. Thoughts on that? How would you correct that in your own opinion?
I would say Lions 1,
Okay.
um, Vikings 2, Bears 3, Packers 4. And even honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised at the end of the year if the Bears are 4 and the Packers are 3.
Oh, I've seen a lot
Uh,
of people say the Bears are going to be 4th place again, 7 and 10.
yeah, I mean, you know my thoughts on the Bears.
Yeah, I do.
They yeah. And especially with their draft picks didn't make sense to me at all, to be
So
very honest with you.
we can go right into that. What grade would you give the Chicago Bears for their draft? I'm high in the draft class from the sounds of it. Are you in the
I mean,
FB
I would
range?
say I would give them a
Okay, that's
B
very fair.
minus, but if you think about the schemes that Ben Johnson likes to implement in his offense, he runs 11 personnel, excuse me,
Mm,
and they already have a tight. You guys already have a tight end. He
right.
drafts a tight end, which okay, you have 2 tight ends now, but it doesn't make sense why you guys got Luther Burden in the second round when he's not going to be utilized that much. Also, Coastal Loveland at the 10th pick
Yeah.
could have traded back and gotten a lot better draft capital
Mhm.
if you had drafted him at, let's say, the 20th pick.
Because there was some rumors saying people had him higher than Tyler Warren. So I feel like the Colts would have took him over Tyler Warren at 14. That's what I was just
Really?
hearing. Um, at first, I was mad about the pick too. I'm like, I was sold on Tyler Warren. I was like, this is a guy that could be such a huge playmaker for us, a difference maker. You could use him
Hmm.
around different ways. You could put him in wildcat situations. You could do so many things with him. So I'm like, Tyler Warren, Tyler Warren, Tyler Warren, and Coasting Loveland. But
Yeah.
the more digging I did in it, the more I love the pick. This is a 6'6", big ass wide receiver. I think he'll
Hmm.
complement Kokomet. I was kind of glazing when I did my breakdown on it. Uh, I was saying he could be like Aaron Hernandez and Kokomet could be
Oh,
like Gronk.
oh man. No,
The-
I mean, don't get me wrong. Colston is a good pick. He's a great player, but when you have Tyler Warren on the board still, I don't know how you pass that up,
yeah,
especially at in the top as a top 10 pick. Like I don't know how you pass that up because initially in my mock drafts, I had Tyler Warren going in the top 8 at least,
to the Jets.
Jets or the Jaguars.
Mhm.
So the fact that you guys got him at 10, I was like, are you serious? But then again, who are we talking about?
I think those players will ball out though. I think Luther Burden is going to be a weapon. They saying Devo Samuel with speed. They like that's the type of weapon he is. And you get a guy like Ben Johnson who could creatively use these guys. I think yeah, he's going to get a lot of screen passes. He's going to get some handoffs. They're going to get some jet sweeps to him. He's going to get the
Yeah.
ball a lot of times. So I think another hot take I'll throw out there. This is an episode
Okay.
full of hot takes. 1,000 yards rookie season.
Whoa. I don't know about that because I would disagree only because I think that this will be a breakout year for Roma Dunze.
Yeah, because
I
no
think Roma
Keenan
Dunze
Allen.
will, yeah, I think he'll step into his own. You still have DJ Moore there. I can see Luther getting north of 700 yards.
Mhm. Which would be great.
Yeah,
We'd take that.
yeah, that would be good for the Bears. But 1,000 is pushing, and I don't know about that.
I was saying that to my brother. I was like, "Oh yeah, we finna have 3 1K receivers." He like, "How many yards Coastal Loveland gonna get? 600?" He like, "Caleb finna throw for
Yeah,
6,000 yards or something." That
you guys are expecting them to put up Ohio State numbers.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this draft. I think we have a lot of weapons. I think we have the right offensive mind to use the weapons the right way and not, Shane Waldron like we did last year. So I think this draft class was good. I like the tackle we got. The one selection that I was like, was a linebacker in the 4th round. It was kind of a reach.
Mhm.
He's fast as hell. They was glazing him. Todd McShay, Yates, all of them were saying he's like a linebacker with jetpacks in his back and shit.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
So I was like, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate the
He does
selection.
come downhill though.
Oh yeah,
He comes
smacking
downhill
shit.
very well.
I
Yeah.
think he ran like a 4.4. Still, they were projecting him as a UDFA, and we took him in the 4th round.
Typical Chicago Bears. It doesn't surprise me.
Ryan Post will give you one of those picks where it's like, "Hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm smarter than you. Watch this. This is gonna be."
Yeah.
And then it's another, Kyron Omegaji, Tyler Scott. The list goes on.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so I like the draft. I give it a B plus. You give it a B minus. Let's get into somebody that had a bad draft night. A couple bad draft nights, to be more specific. Shedeur Sanders. What was your thoughts on the situation? Did he land in the best spot possible in Cleveland?
Well, day one, I expected him to go to the Steelers,
Me too.
maybe the Giants. But as soon as, day two comes along, still hasn't been picked. Day three comes along, and it's like, honestly, like somebody just pick him up. Like, I don't really, it doesn't even really matter at this point, because there's no way he's a day three quarterback in this draft.
No.
Like, there's no way.
Dylan Gabriel goes above him. Even Milroe. Nah.
Like Tyler Shaw, or what's his last name?
I think it's
Like,
Show, yeah.
Yeah, like, there's no way he fell under those guys in this draft. Like, he had, in my opinion, he was the second best quarterback in this draft behind Cam Ward.
Mhm.
So I was at a loss of words.
Me too. Kept getting worse and worse.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that he'll learn a lot being in a deep quarterback room.
Mhm.
The Browns do have a lot of quarterbacks who have been starters or can start. So I think that he'll learn a lot, and he is a competitor, and I think being in that quarterback room will elevate his play, hopefully.
Mhm.
So I think that, everything happens for a reason. So I think that it'll be a good situation for him.
Yeah, I think so too. Cleveland was probably the best possible landing spot for him. I've seen people speculating about this situation. You think the NFL was coming together? Hey, let's humble his ass. All the teams that needed a quarterback, because it just don't make sense. I even seen Dr. Umar get online and talk about Deion Sanders and Shedeur need to sue the NFL for 40 mil. I feel like, in a sense, they did try to humble him. In a sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we see quarterback needy teams. Steelers, they took Will Howard, which I think was a decent selection. But
hmm
Dylan Gabriel to the Browns in the 3rd round, trading up to get Dylan Gabriel. Like, just some of these selections, it's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, for sure. I think the league definitely wanted to humble him, but I wish they would just release like some of these like draft interview tapes
Yes.
of what he was saying in the interviews, because I'm sitting there watching the draft thinking like, man, what did he say? Like, it had to have been
Had to
something
be
that he said.
crazy. Yes.
And things get in the NFL, any professional sport, things get around quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And for him to have, he does have the attitude that he has. He carries himself the way that he does. But even then, like, it's like there's no way that a team in the 1st round, at least 2nd round, didn't take a chance on him and, would try to at least like humble him in their own system, like talk to him once he got there.
Yeah.
But
there's other ways to do it. I mean, we see dudes get drafted with pending murder cases.
exactly.
Bro is just
Exactly.
arrogant. That's it. So,
That's literally it.
very interesting situation. I mean, when the Browns did draft him, you saw like Stefanski and Andrew Berry, the GM and the coach, they were kind of clapping. It was nothing crazy.
Yeah, but they weren't excited.
That's what I'm saying. And the owner behind them was just like peering behind them and looking behind them. So it makes you think that the owner wanted that selection to happen. And they finally, made it happen. So I'm interested to see how the Cleveland situation works out for him. Hopefully it works out, because this is an opportunity he could start. I think he could very much
Oh
start.
yeah.
Flacco's 39 years old, off the couch
Hmm.
again. Kenny Pickett his ass, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I think they have 5 quarterbacks right now. I think they move on from Kenny Pickett, and then Dylan
Mhm.
Gabriel, Shedeur, and Flacco is the 3 quarterbacks they move forward with. Deshaun Watson still recovering, so
Mhm.
I think Shedeur, he gets the quarterback 2 spot, and at some point mid-season, the Browns, like, the talk gets louder and louder. I mean, you already seen
Yeah.
Njoku, some of the Browns team's players are like, "Hey, we're riding with Shedeur." We're already like, they're already showing him love on social media, so the decision's already made. I think Shedeur is gonna be in at some point.
Oh yeah.
When would you say is a point you expect to see him out there?
I would say as early as week 3,
Okay.
honestly.
Their
I
schedule, I
mean,
think, is tough too. I'm not sure though.
I haven't seen the schedules yet, but I think that, let them sit a couple of games, learn under hopefully Flacco, not Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Uh, learn under Flacco, Super Bowl winning quarterback, and put him in week 3.
Mhm.
Don't just throw him into the wolves week
Yeah.
1 and just let him do whatever. But I think week 3 will be a good time for him to get in there and show what he can do against starting talent in the NFL. So
Yeah, I think so too. That'd be really dope seeing him get to start. And who knows? I mean, the Cleveland Browns, this is a team that's positioned for success. Every position they got, talent, Jerry Judy, Njoku,
mhm.
Harold Fenton Jr. I like the running backs they drafted, Mason Graham on defense. So this team is in position to succeed. All they need is that guy. And Shador very well could be that at some point whenever he comes in. So talking about rookies, talking about, Shador, who are your favorites right now to win offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year, if you had to guess?
Can I give you my logical answer and then an answer of what I think will happen?
Perfect. Yeah, go ahead, do that.
I think what will happen if he plays, he doesn't even have to be the best. If he has a pretty solid year offensively and defensively, I think they'll give it to Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Just because of
Playing 2 different positions,
who
yeah.
he is, media, and I think media will just give it to him if he has a good year. But who I think will win Defensive Player of the Year, I think Abdul Carter.
Okay, that's a good
Um,
selection.
yeah, he's a beast. I think he's outside of Travis the most NFL ready out of this
Mhm.
draft. He reminds me a lot of Micah Parsons. Offensively, mm, honestly, I could see T Mac,
Okay.
especially if Bryce Young has a season that he had towards the end. If he picks that momentum right back up to start the year and lets it ride out for the rest of the year, I think T Mac will be good for Bryce Young, and I think he'll be a good candidate to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I like that. Yeah. Um Defensive rookie of the year, I'm gonna go Jihad Campbell from the Eagles. I think he's somebody that's gonna, put up great numbers, great stats. N'Kobe Dean,
Yeah.
he's banged up. It's gonna be a minute before he comes back, so he's gonna start day one. And how Vic Fangio uses these guys, we've seen some rookies on this Eagles defense have fantastic rookie seasons. So I think he's gonna be somebody that makes an impact, and I think he's in the perfect situation, learning behind Zach Bond. He's in a perfect situation, learning behind him and somebody that plays similar to him, a versatile linebacker that's great in coverage,
Mhm.
that can make plays. He could even line up as an edge every now and then. So I think he'll have a really good season. Offensive rookie of the year, I'm gonna go Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward lights it up in
Mm.
Tennessee. I think he has a good enough season to earn him rookie of the year. He has the right amount of arrogance. It's not Shedeur Sanders
Yeah.
level. The running backs they got, they brought in Restrepo as a UDFA, so I think he's going to put up
Mhm.
some big numbers in Tennessee with Brian Callahan and that offense. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.